Welcome to this e-GRO plant growth regulator tips video. Hi, I'm Brian Whipker, professor of floriculture at North Carolina State University. In this video, we will discuss the advantages of Preplant PGR liner soaks. So let's get started. First, I would like to thank Fine Americas for providing research support which made this video possible. So what are Preplant PGR liner soaks? That is where the root ball is soaked in a PGR solution which allows uptake of the chemical prior to transplanting the plug into the soil. Preplant liner soaks work very well for managing growth of vigorous plants, especially ones which are planted into combination baskets. To get started, let's cover a few factors to consider to help improve the effectiveness of preplant liner soaks. The ability of the plug to take up water is the key. The plug should be on the slightly dry side. Ideally, irrigate the plug the day before and allow them to dry out overnight. The next day, they should be at the proper stage for needing to be irrigated. That is the stage where you want to treat the plugs with the PGR solution. This figure shows why you want to have the plugs on the dry side. Dry plugs take up more water than wet plugs. And because of this increase in the volume of water being taken up, the concentration of the PGR solution is lower. If the plugs were wet, the optimal PGR rates would have to be increased by about 5x. Here are some results of a trial conducted by Dr. Alan Hammer. With the rate of 2.5 part per million paclobutrazol, growth control occurred with the plant in the middle, as compared with the untreated control to the left. Paclobutrazol had no growth effect on the plant on the right because a wet plug cannot take up as much PGR solution. With preplant liner soaks, what's the optimal length of time to soak the plugs? Over 96% of the water uptake by the plug will occur within the first minute. By 2 minutes, 98% of the solution will be taken up. Therefore, the general recommendation is to soak the plants between 1 and 2 minutes. This slide shows the effects of increasing the soak time from 0 to 12 minutes. In this experiment, Dr. Joyce Latimer of Virginia Tech treated rutabaga plants with 0.5 part per million of uniconazole. A full dose of uniconazole appears to have been taken up by the plants within 0.5 minute because you can see the plants are smaller. This also illustrates that a longer soaking times will not change the degree of control, so you have a little flexibility in the timing of treating the plants. To help achieve good uptake, make sure the solution is at least 50% up the side of the plug. This will help assure excellent uptake of the solution in contact with the root system, which is mostly at the bottom of the plug cell. In general, there is some flexibility in treating the plugs in advance. It can be done between 2 hours and 10 days in advance. Overall, it is best to transplant the plugs within 3 days of treatment. Do keep in mind that holding the plugs too long will also result in stunted growth. Also keep in mind, a best management practice recommendation is to treat the plugs the day before to exceed the REI period of 12 hours for paclobutrazol. Also keep in mind that it's better to treat the plugs and then allow for some uptake of the PGR solution to occur. Transplanting and watering in newly treated plugs can flush out the PGR from the plug cell as seen with the plant in the middle because it's bigger. The plant at the right was held for 2 hours before transplanting and the PGR is providing a degree of control. Preplant liner soaks work very well for plugs, but the root system must be well developed. Poorly rooted cuttings will experience excessive control and can be stunted. So check the root systems before treating the plants and make sure it's well developed. Here are some pointers to keep in mind. Irrigate the plugs 24 hours prior to treatment. This helps to even out the moisture level within the flat. Then allow the plugs to dry down to the point of normal irrigation time. Soak the plugs for a minimum at least of 1 minute or ideally as long as 2 minutes to get optimal uptake. Optimal rates will vary with plant vigor and by cultivar, so it will take a little experimentation to get the rate right. Remember to take good notes so you can build on your experience the following year. Here are some suggestions for starting rates for paclobutrazol. Only Piccolo and Paxil have labeling which enable liner soaks to be done. Rates are divided into northern and southern growing areas and provide moderate control for most of the season. The plant should grow out of the treatment near the end of the production cycle. Try experimenting with these rates to determine what works best for your location, plant type, and cultivar grown. Keep good records and adjust rates as needed. Another way of determining starting rates is from the PGR label. Here are some recommended trial starting point rates for Piccolo based on the desired level of activity, from low to high, and location, being south or being north. Michigan State University also conducted research trials on preplant liner soaks of paclobutrazol and uniconazole. Their recommendations for season-long control are listed here for Petunia, Scaevola, Argyranthemum, Calibrachoa, and Verbena. They recommended that southern growers use slightly higher rates. These recommended rates are higher than the starting point recommendations found on the Piccolo label, so it would be wise to conduct your own trials to determine what works best for your cultivars and species. Here's an example of the type of control to expect. In this case here, we're looking at Russian sage treated with paclobutrazol. The starting rates of 4 to 6 parts per million control plant growth pretty well. So now let's summarize the use of preplant liner soaks. Preplant liner soaks offer an economical method of treating a large number of plugs. Growers find this treatment method to be especially effective on vigorous types of vegetative annuals. Give it a try. Consider starting a small trial to determine if this method works well for you.